Hello, I'm Bong Ngọc from Hanoi. You're watching VNA News Bulletin, and now headlines as usual. President Jing Sang meets Mozambican leaders before concluding visit to the African country. More than 400 news agencies take part in first National Press Festival. Conical hat making village in Hanoi's outlying district. On March 13th, President Jing Sang began his visit to Iran. Earlier during his visit to Mozambique, President Sang met with Speaker of the Parliament, Veronica Macamo, and Secretary General of the ruling Liberation Front Party, Elisu Macheva, in Maputo. Speaker Macamo hailed the visit as an important milestone in bilateral ties. She affirmed her determination to strengthen experience sharing between the two legislatures, work closely at inter-parliamentary organizations, and intensify bilateral ties in economics, trade, telecommunications, and agriculture. She proposed signing a cooperation agreement between the two legislatures. The president expressed his delight at visiting the country after 7 years in office, and spoke highly of the Mozambican parliament's role in national development. In a separate meeting with Frelimo party leader Macheva, the Vietnamese leader called on the two countries to maintain close cooperation and said he believed that under the sound leadership of the Frelimo party, Mozambique will reap more successes throughout the nation's development, fostering the traditional friendship between the parties and peoples. Macheva, for his part, Frelimo appreciates and always does its best to solidify its long-standing ties with Vietnam. He thanked Vietnam for sharing experiences with Frelimo in party building and personnel training. A number of party members who took training courses in Vietnam ascended to high ranks in the party. The same day, President Sang and Mozambican President Filipe Jacinto Nyusi attended the Mozambique-Vietnam Business Forum, co-hosted by the Confederation of Business Associations and the Vietnam Chambers of Commerce and Industry, with nearly 200 firms taking part. While discussing the goal to raise two-way trade to $500 million by 2020, a majority of participants said they highly valued Vietnam's potential in various fields, particularly in farm-produced processing, garments, and wooded furniture. With Mozambique's strengths in crude materials, they described it as fertile ground for Vietnamese investors. Nyusi said in its low-case policy, the Mozambican government paid attention to the areas of agriculture, energy, tourism, construction, and transport, and has offered incentives to pitch for foreign investment. The Vietnamese guest asked the two business communities to continue discussing a plan to open a bonded warehouse and launch an interbank payment mechanism. He said he believed that with Vietnamese and Mozambican leaders' support, more and more Vietnamese firms will come to Mozambique, following the success of Movitel, a joint venture between Vietnamese telecom group Viettel and Mozambique's SPI company. Also on March 12th, President Sang visited Movitel and met Vietnamese nationals living in the country. On March 13th, the state leader and his entourage left Maputo, concluding their Mozambican visit and embarking on the trip to Iran. More than 400 news agencies are taking part in the first National Press Festival that opened in Hanoi on March 13. The exhibited items are classified into categories: overview of Vietnamese press, and specific subjects. There are 700 New Year special editions and nearly 100 radio and television programs on the party's 12th Congress and 30-year national reform process. The festival entails photos exhibitions and a range of workshops and seminars concerning the improvement of media clubs and the press's contributions to party construction. Võ Văn Thường, head of the party's Central Committee's Information and Education Commission, said the event has journalists from across the country meet up and exchange experience. He noted Vietnam's government and party highly value the community for their work in journalism. The journalists will also get on stage for musical performances during the festival. It runs to March 15th and is expected to become an annual event. The government has approved an aid package worth 523.7 billion dong, about $23.5 million for 34 provinces and cities across the nation to address the aftermath of drought and storm intrusion during the 2015-2016 winter-spring crops.
In February, the government also agreed to allocate 85.1 billion Vietnam dong, about $3.8 million from the central budget for 6 localities to deal with consequences of drought and saline intrusion in the 2015 summer-autumn crops. In another move, the State Bank of Vietnam has instructed credit institutions, banks for social policies, as well as its branches in Mekong Delta provinces to extend time of paying debt, as well as cutting off or reducing interest rates for farmers in the Mekong Delta who have been suffering from damages by drought and salt intrusion. Across the Mekong Delta, the country's largest rice producer, as many as 140,000 hectares of rice has been damaged so far, nearly 90,000 hectares of which resulted in a 70% loss. In the 2015-2016 winter-spring crop, there are 339,200 hectares of rice in coastal Mekong Delta provinces prone to salt intrusion and drought, accounting for 21.9% of the region's total rice area, 104,000 hectares of which have already been severely impacted. It is predicted that drought and saline intrusion will peak in March but will last until June. More than 150,000 regional households with 600,000 people are lacking fresh water.
Ho Chi Minh City Department of Agriculture and Rural Development has reported that the switch from traditional to urban farming in the city has yielded great successes over the last 5 years.
For the 2011-2015 period, more than 3,700 farmer households and enterprises with feasible business plans received a loan interest subsidy from a city program to implement their projects. The projects had created jobs for 45,097 laborers and helped raise the average per capita income in rural areas to $1,787 per year, reducing the income gap between rural and urban areas. Earnings from agricultural production in places like Cần Giờ and Củ Chi districts improved significantly. Based on these successes, the city passed a new provision to urbanize agriculture in the 2016-2020 period, with adjustments to facilitate bank loan access of farmers and enterprises in the city in an effort to help them boost their production. Under the program, individuals and organizations investing in the agricultural sector and having feasible business plans will receive between 60 to 100% loan interest subsidy from the city. The city expects to raise earnings from agricultural production per hectare to over $36,000 by 2020 under the new program.
The beauty of the central coastal province of Quảng Ngãi, homeland of the Hoàng Sa Flotilla, has been featured through 150 artworks at a photographic exhibition in Hanoi. The night-day event is expected to encourage patriotism among Vietnamese people. Similar exhibitions will be held in different localities to introduce creative and artistic photographs to the public. Apart from its beautiful landscapes, Quảng Ngãi Province's Lý Sơn Island impressed me because of its history and culture. Lý Sơn is the Vietnamese people's pride, as it is home to Hoàng Sa Flotilla that exercise management and protection in the East Sea. Established by the Nguyen dynasty in the first half of the 17th century, the Hoàng Sa Flotilla was the first federal state-controlled group exercising management and protection in the East Sea. It is the forceful evidence of Vietnam's sovereignty over Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa archipelagos. Today, local fishermen, descendants of the Hoàng Sa Navy soldiers, make their own concerted efforts to protect the nation's sea and islands. Non La, or the palm leaf conical hat, is the traditional symbol of the Vietnamese people. Along with the graceful outside long dress, the Non La has become a sort of national symbol that is recognized worldwide. In the following story, we would like you to visit Phú Mỹ Conical Hat Making Village in Hanoi's outlying district of Quốc Oai. The main material for hat making is palm leaves, which can be found in every market in Phú Mỹ village. No one can remember the time when people in the village started making conical hats. However, they always remember Princess Huyền Dung, who was supposed to have taught local people how to make the hat. Conical hats made by local people here are not only used by many women nationwide, but also exported to neighboring countries. 80% out of 900 households in the village work making conical hats. Villagers from all walks of life know how to make a hat. I learned to make a conical hat when I was 5 or 6. That is how we can afford our living. My mother taught me the basic techniques when I was 10. I helped my mother sew the hats. Since I turned 18, I started to make a complete hat. According to experienced villagers, there are many steps to make a palm leaf hat, of which sewing and decorating must be sophisticated, especially for thick hats. The makers have to sew small and even stitches, which mean they need time and patience. Thick hats require the makers to be more careful in arranging the leaves. If we use big leaves, all the leaves have to be big for different layers and vice versa. Despite ups and downs, local people and authorities are striving to preserve the craft, considering it a cultural beauty.
We make plans to export hats to China to generate income for local people. The local authorities are preparing to build a small-sized industrial zone for making conical hats.
Apart from preserving the traditional characteristics of non-La making, local people apply advanced methods to catch up with the modern pace of life. The move aims at keeping the cultural value of the craft, as well as introducing the village's conical hats to a wider public. And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.